Welcome to Reflections, the podcast that biblically encourages, equips, and empowers women for apostolic life and service. Here's your host, Dr. Cindy Miller.
Welcome, everyone, to Let's Talk. We've started the year talking about apostolic women and defining, or rather redefining, the word or the term beautiful. And that's just been since the beginning of the year, we've been talking about that. And the episode today is going to continue our conversation, but take it in a little bit different direction. So at the end, go to the notes section, check out all the resources we have for this episode. You're going to hear a lot of great input today, and you're going to try to probably be writing it down or hoping you can find a way to connect with that, but we've provided it for you. So check out the notes. My name is Cindy Miller. I'm your host for Let's Talk, and it is a podcast produced by Reflections Magazine. With me today are back with me from the last episode is businesswoman, entrepreneur, Ashton Qual, the owner, founder, developer of Ashen Stone Skincare, and her mother, Duana Sargent, wife and ministry partner of Darin, mother of three, lifelong learner, and good friend to many.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're glad you're back with us today. Right now, we're all just trying to survive winter in the Midwest, unless you're in San Diego and you don't know what we're talking about.
And we don't like you
we
today.
all want to come visit you.
Yeah.
So we're going to just hide in the studio. We're going to stay warm. We're going to talk about this subject that we all love. As I've shared in previous conversations about this, we are looking at the impact of the North American version of beauty, our current culture, on apostolic women who say, I am a daughter of the Lord Jesus Christ. And we're looking at what does that really mean in our everyday life, how we not only feel about ourselves, how we present, how we share Jesus to the world, how we love and live, all of those things that are important. We know that, living out our faith and personal convictions in a world who absolutely does not value our commitment can be challenging. And so what we want to do today is we want to share this conversation that we're having in this room with you. And our hope is that you're going to take this conversation and you're going to begin to share with your friends and your sisters. Because while we don't have the cure, we can't fix this problem, it's not going away. What we hope will happen is that we begin to remind each other that the world's view should never be our view. We should have a biblical, godly, apostolic view of ourselves, who we are in Christ, and how we view others in Christ as well in the world. So have this conversation, and I hope that you'll join us in redefining beautiful, not only in our own minds and hearts, but for others as well. Living less than. We talked about living less than last time, but living less than really strips us of our power as women. Yeah. We have power to love. We can make a difference. We're supposed to be representing Christ, like he's the answer. And we have all these dreams, we have callings, but if we're intimidated and hiding in our houses because we feel less than, or we sneak out of the house, as Ashton had said before, like let me just put this hood down and sneak out. I don't want to be seen. But if we're doing that, we're not accomplishing our dreams. We're not living out our calling. And so if that's what's going on, I think God wants to shake this up and say, no, I did not create you to live less than. I've given you dreams. I've called you. I've empowered you. We're empowered by the Holy Spirit. All that's happened for you to go out and represent me well in this world. So Ashton, I see you, and having met you, you're beautiful, you're young, you're confident, you're accomplished, you're doing things, you're following your dreams. So how is it you grew up, this apostolic young woman? How did you kind of navigate all the standard pitfalls that so many seem to be going through and arrive at such a young age at the place that you're at right now?
Thank you, first of all. I always tell people, I think I had one of the most amazing childhoods you could ever have. My parents raised me, my brother, and my sister in San Diego, California, which most people, their first thought is, oh my gosh, that's beautiful, but wow, that's a scary place to raise kids. We lived in a very unique part of San Diego where it was this random Christian conservative homeschool community. And we were able to be in the public school system, to be in the world, but not of the world, and live 20 minutes from the beach, which you can't beat that. But I feel like we got
Sounds
a
like
very
a perfect upbringing.
yes, it was so perfect. Like we got a very well-rounded, very safe, very God-filled childhood. And I always tell people I never struggled with apostolic doctrine about holiness or any of that. In fact, this is embarrassing, but this is one of my favorite stories about myself because I'm crazy. I was in preschool in LA. We lived in LA before we lived in San Diego. And I went up to my preschool teacher and I told her that she was going to go to hell because she cut her hair.
So you were an evangelist.
I was something, but I was so firm in what we believed. I was 5 years old, but I knew, I understood apostolic standards. I understood biblical holiness, not obviously to the extent that I do now, but I never wrestled with that as a young girl. And my mom did profusely apologize to my precious preschool teacher
who was
a godly person herself.
She was, I think she was Jewish and like she understood where I was coming from, but she didn't appreciate the fact that I told her she was not going to make it to heaven. But I didn't ever struggle with identity until I got to high school. But even holiness standards were not an issue for me. And I think that's very unique because I went to school with surfers who were surfing that morning and took the train in and were barely wearing anything in school. And that was just allowed because it's California. But I didn't struggle with like, I'm in a skirt or like, and I got picked on sometimes. Some girls were mean to me about my clothes, but I just knew that we did what we did and I understood why and it was in my heart. What I did start to struggle with in high school was my skin, which is, I do what I do now, but I started having traditional teenage acne, but as apostolics, we're not wearing makeup, we're not covering it up, we're not caking our face. And my peers were doing that. And at the time, this is 2015, so like the winged eyeliner is like big and super in. And everybody had it. All the it girls had like the perfect mascara, the perfect eyeliner, flawless, like glass skin. And I had acne. And I was like, cool. Like, so not only do I stand out in a skirt, which I'm fine with because I understand why we believe what we believe, but now I have red pimples all over my face and I have to just live with it. And that was a struggle. That was a struggle for me. And honestly, it carried into my Bible college years. I went to Indiana Bible College and my skin got even worse. Leaving San Diego and going to the Midwest, the food was different. The culture was different. The water was very different. Stress of college obviously made my skin a little bit more crazy. And I was just like I felt so trapped by my own skin. And I felt like.
So what was going on? How are you viewing yourself? You're trapped by your own skin. It's getting worse, not better. You can't hide it. What was that like for you? So could you share some of your thoughts and feelings around being trapped?
I mean, yeah, I felt literally so disgusting. Like it felt more than just, I don't feel good. Like I feel ugly. I felt so gross because as a 19-year-old, I'm getting out of those teen years. I'm at Bible college with other girls who are beautiful apostolic women who don't struggle with acne. And here I am, never gone on a date, like thinking my skin's the problem. Like my skin is what's keeping me from all of these things. And like literally that's
falling in love.
Yes, and that's not it at all. And I got married quickly after Bible college, which is not the point. But I felt like my skin determined my value and my worth. And the Lord has had to really untangle that for me. And he put me on this journey with launching a skincare company because I was able to, we'll talk about this more later, but I was able to start making my own products that helped clear my skin. But even in that journey, I was selling products to people and still had skin issues. And I still had that like, my identity is so wrapped up in selling people skincare and it's not even working for me anymore. And that is a whole other conversation about health and wellness and things in my body that I didn't know were going on. But I just felt like so inferior and so insecure because my skin wasn't like anybody else's skin.
And Ashton, this is what this whole conversation has been about in every episode.
Yeah.
And for you, it was your skin.
Yeah.
I am less than. I am worthless. I'm not worth dating or knowing. I shouldn't even have any life.
Yeah.
This is the whole reason
Yeah.
because of my skin.
Yeah.
But for other women, it's other things.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
it could be their smile, or it could be
Their
maybe they have
hair.
a scar.
Yeah.
They have, you know, their hair's not what they want it to be, or their weight's not what they want it to be. But this is exactly what happens to us. One thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden we're just absolutely worthless
Yeah.
because
Which is so silly.
it's
So silly to put our
sad.
whole
Or
worth
value.
and value in,
Yeah.
And this is from a young woman. So a lot of times we talk about those early childhood years where we didn't have great upbringings, and people spoke really harmful, hurtful things into us, you know.
Yeah.
And we go, oh, well, this is because of my childhood. But you're saying, I had a great childhood. I had the best.
Yeah.
So this happens to
Yeah.
all of
Yeah,
us.
all of
This is everybody,
does.
every woman I've talked to.
Yeah.
I have not yet met one woman who didn't have something going on. So, Duana, you're hearing your daughter talk about this. So you obviously, great mom, perfect, wonderful childhood.
Yes.
I'm so glad she said that.
So share,
mean it.
share with us, like, you know, what were you doing to create that strength in her?
I feel like, first of all, you know, I'm a strong Southern woman, so
Yes.
we're gonna have some good conversations about who we are. And when she would come and say those things to me, I would say, okay, Ash, that's fine. That's fine that you feel that way, but you need to start writing the positive. And she can tell you, I would say, for every negative statement you've told me today, I need you to write 2 positives.
Yeah. So annoying.
You
It worked,
need,
though.
you need to rethink.
good.
You need to rethink what you're saying to yourself and
So teaching her to refute the lies.
refute the lies, because you're not what you're telling yourself. And I also allowed them just to, and, you know, I have another daughter, so when I say them, I allowed them to be themselves because I didn't want to put my beauty standards on them.
Yeah.
What I might have thought was beautiful may not have been what they thought was beautiful. So I wanted them to find their individual beauty. I wanted to allow them to be okay who they were. I didn't want to say, well, you know, you should probably go back and fix, because when I'm always trying to say, well, what they're going to hear is, you're not perfect.
Yeah.
You need to go back and fix your hair. You need to go back and change your clothes. Now, if it's immodest, of course, we're going to change. But I wanted them to be who they were.
So they could experiment with hairstyles. Or,
Yes,
you
Yeah,
know,
we
I
have
didn't
some
control
really
that.
bad hair days on Facebook. Never, I shouldn't even say that. If they're in the archives somewhere,
We're going
Yes.
looking.
I
Yeah.
there are some bad hair days between me and my sister because she didn't nitpick. Like, she would give us tips and tricks of like, hey, you can do this to your hair and this might help if we express frustration. But I can think of very little times where she was like, are you sure you're going to wear your hair like that? Are you sure you're going to wear that shirt with that skirt? Like, we were very much allowed to express our identity and our creativity in our clothes and how we
Yeah.
fixed our hair. And most of the time it was the lack of how I fixed my hair, the lack of how I did it.
It's
yeah.
that California.
Yeah, I never fixed it.
Well, I
Look.
love the fact that you were allowed to explore.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then also it's really great for you, Duana, because all those pictures that she's
Yeah.
horrified.
No, I have
no
them.
responsibility.
They're
I mean,
horrible.
no
responsibility.
It's all
her.
on
It's
me,
all on
too.
her.
It's all me.
So another question then, sounds like you were doing a great job. You know, refute the lies, explore, be yourself, be true to you. We love you for who you are. But is there something now that you've got a few years that she's, you know, obviously this beautiful adult woman, successful, but do you look back and go, I wish I had said this. I wish I
Yeah.
had done that a little different?
Well, and in previous conversations with Ashton, I literally said, I'm sorry that my hardness on myself, I've transferred to you. So I wished I would have, while I let them be themselves, maybe I didn't let myself be who. I didn't let myself be as free.
You weren't as good to yourself.
I
as you
wasn't,
were
and
to your
and
daughters.
that goes back to our conversation before, that sometimes we're so hard on ourselves. And I wished I would have just been like, Ashton, give yourself a break. You know, why I'm saying do the positive, but I also I wished I would have reiterated, stop. Give yourself a break and don't be so hard on yourself, because we need to give ourselves grace. we have to give ourselves grace.
Yeah, when you were mentioning that, it kind of made me think about my own mom. And I think she didn't say this to us, but somehow we picked up on her insecurities,
Yeah.
her feelings of less than. And I don't remember her directly communicating like, oh, we don't have as much money, we don't have as nice a
Right.
house. I never heard her say that, but actions and attitudes and I don't know, maybe even fear, I don't know.
Yeah.
Somehow we picked up on that and absorbed
Yeah.
Yeah.
in that.
Kids are
Yeah.
sponges.
Yes,
Yes.
but just really absorbed in mom's insecurities or her feelings of less than. So it's really
Right.
powerful.
It really is powerful.
Being the mom, even trying to do it all right, say it all right, refute the lies, be
Right.
yourself, but in our own self.
Yeah.
So working on our own self is so important, really bringing that to the Lord and allowing him to do a work in us. It matters.
It matters.
So feeling beautiful depends on many factors. We're talking about a lot of them, not just the physical appearance, but physical health does matter. And that was part of how you launched your own skincare company. So if we were to say appearance is just not important at all, don't worry about it. Let's just be really great women. Well, that would really diminish this conversation. At this point, probably people would be turning us off. So Ashton, let's talk about your skincare company, how you started. You shared a little bit about the drive behind it, but let's talk about skincare.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, I had really bad skin. When I mean really bad skin, I'm talking cystic acne, lining my cheeks, my face. It's so bad that I don't even have photos of how bad it was. The photos I have are like a year into recovery. And I look back at those and I'm like, oh, those are bad. But I know my skin was 10 times worse. And I would not take a single picture because I was feeling so insecure. But sorry. As I'm dealing with my skin, I was looking into all these options, and I felt like, okay, I've always been like a clean and clear Neutrogena, like scrub it off, burn it off type of girl. That's how I dealt with my acne in high school, and it was not working. When I got to college level, it was not working. So started doing some research, and I felt like the natural route is what I wanted to go with. At the time, this is 2017, 2018, natural products are on the market, but incredibly expensive and unattainable. And I was nannying, making $90 a week and terrified of the school food. So I ate out with that $90 a week and somehow put gas in my car and somehow got coffee. I don't even know how I did it. It was all the Lord.
Priorities, Ashton. Priorities. Get the coffee.
Yes. So I was like, I can't buy this $50 face cream. I literally cannot afford that. So I went to my local health food store. I picked up a bottle of shea butter and a bottle of jojoba oil and a bottle of something called Tanuma oil, which is green and very smelly. And I went to my dorm. My dorm room was packed with girls at this point. My room was like the hangout spot. And I took a bowl, filled it with boiling water from my electric kettle, put a cup inside the bowl and melted everything together. And I got this green, slimy, like thick liquid situation. And I was like, well, let's see if this works. The internet tells me it's going to, so let's find out. I'm not joking. Like within weeks, my skin looked so different. It was incredible.
From green slime.
From green slime that smelled bad. And people were like, oh, can I borrow that? I want to try this, or I want to use that. This is my freshman year. And through the course of my freshman year and sophomore year, I started refining that product. It was no longer green and smelly. It was white and smelled good, like lavender and frankincense. And I developed 2 other products to try to help with my skin journey. And my skin looked amazing. It looked good. I was like, wow, we're doing something. My mom is like, you should start a business. And I was not so sure.
But she's an encourager.
Yes. Yeah, she was. I was not so sure because I didn't have the background to back it up. I had just my own trial and error. And that really scared me because making skincare for other people, you got to know what you're doing. So with a lot of research and $100 of my own money and $100 of my parents' money, I launched Ashton Stone my junior year out of my dorm room, which I promise you was smaller than this room.
Oh, yeah.
It was so tiny. All of the ingredients were shoved behind a cupboard, and the actual products that I made were in one of those like plastic pull-out drawers. Like it was so ghetto, but I made it work and I just did it. And I launched and I sold out within the month. And it slowly from there just started to grow and develop. This is the COVID year. So I ended up going home. I launched in September. I ended up going home back to California in March when everybody went home. And over that COVID period, I just plugged in and I researched and I really tried to understand like skin dynamics and what makes certain skin do this and that. And from there, I've developed 2 more products. And now 4 years later, we are almost 5 years, we are at over 15 products. I have my certification in holistic skincare formulation. I've been to school for it. I'm not just some girl who makes it in my basement now.
In your mom's basement.
Yes. I actually still do make it in my parents' basement. But we have a whole warehouse that we are outgrowing, and God has just really blessed it. But I now have the credentials to back it up. But that's just a little bit of how we got started.
So you started your skin started clearing up. You saw that one thing that was keeping you from being an amazing person. But did you find that even after your skin cleared up, now you have this beautiful skin, isn't life really always about more challenges?
Yes. Well, to be honest, my skin cleared up for a period of time. And I launched my company with clear skin, and within months, my skin was back to bad. And I felt so afraid. Like now I'm selling people skincare and my skin is bad again. Like I'm a fraud. I'm like, I just felt so intimidated. But I had to learn that was way deeper health issues. And that has actually pushed me on this crazy holistic health journey and not just my skincare journey. But now I could talk about holistic health and gut health and hormonal health, which is so important for women. I can talk about that all day long because that is the root cause of your acne or your weight typically.
Yeah.
But yeah, just because my skin cleared didn't make all my insecurities go away.
Well, you talk at other times and in other writings, you talked about the stewardship of the body, but not as a vanity issue or because, I need to get myself
Right.
where I'm worthy to be loved, but really as worship.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that when the Bible talks about being a good steward, it's not just about your money or your time, but it is about your treasure. And what a great treasure that we have. God has given us beautiful bodies that we are commissioned to take care of. And if you believe that you are divinely created, if you believe that you are divinely created by a beautiful creator, he doesn't just make things, he makes beautiful things. If you believe that, then you have to feel the weight of taking care of that. And that's been a passion of mine and honestly a conviction of mine that's come upon me the past couple of years, that my body is not my own, it is the Lord's. So I need to treat it as such. We talk about how our body is a temple, and then we go and we eat McDonald's and we sit on the couch and we don't take care of our bodies. And I understand health concerns. I understand seasons of life, busy seasons. I'm pregnant right now. I've been sitting on the couch. Like I've been eating whatever I can eat. Like
whatever stays down.
There are seasons. Yeah, honestly, whatever I can eat. There are seasons where you're not always going to go to the gym and you're not always going to eat the best meal. But I don't think it's about that. I think it's about viewing your body as a temple. So I'm going to do the best I can with what I have, with the knowledge I have, with the skills I have, with the time I have. I'm going to make the best choices I can, and not out of vanity or not out of self-hatred for my body, but out of love to the God who created me and out of worship to the God that created me. Your view of yourself and of your health and of your body changes significantly, because it's not just like me looking in the mirror being like, I don't like this. I don't like this part of me. I don't like this part. So I've got to only eat salad. That is not what it's about.
Right.
It's about looking in the mirror and saying, God has created me so beautifully and so wonderfully that I owe it to him to take care of the body that he's given me. And you can be as crazy as me and cut out seed oils and be insane. Like I have
or you can do baby steps.
Yeah, or you can. And I started with baby steps. I didn't jump off the deep end and read every ingredient label. I took what I could, and instead of depriving my body of food, I'm going to feed myself, and I'm going to feed myself well. And instead of choosing to sit down for hours, I'm going to go on a walk because I have legs and I can do that. And I'm blessed with that. And it slowly develops, and a health journey for everybody looks very different. And I don't want anyone to ever feel embarrassed or shamed by their body, but you should you should look at your body and see that you are fearfully and wonderfully made and take care of it to the best of your ability. Whatever that looks like for you at whatever stage of life you're in, even just upping your water and getting some steps in. That's worship, I believe. I believe it's worship to the
Well,
Lord.
I think that, and I think it's just a mindset shift
Absolutely.
to think, okay, I'm not doing this because I'm vain or because I
Right.
feel so inferior to all these other
Right.
beautiful women, but Lord, you gave me health, you gave me strength, you gave me the ability to do so as worship.
Yeah.
And what a shift that is when we look at it as
Right.
worship. I'm so sorry we're running out of time. We could talk and
We
talk
could.
and talk about this, and I hope that we can continue the conversation. But thank you both for being here.
Right.
Thank you for
I do
having
want to
us.
give you a moment as we're wrapping up. Any last words, thoughts, comments?
It's like our last
Yeah.
episode, we are doing a discount code, 15% off for anybody who listens. If you go to our website,
Thank you.
www.ashenstone.com, and you go to checkout, you put in the code Let's Talk 15. You'll get 15% off.
And it's great products.
It's the best.
It's great.
Absolutely.
I just want to say thank you for
Yes.
having us, and this has been a
Oh,
pleasure and
Absolutely.
so enjoyable to be a part.
All right. So, readers, you can go and you can read the full article in Reflections Magazine. There's also our Facebook page. You can get more on it. Share this episode with all your friends. Please do like our channel, subscribe to our channel. Next month, we're going to be talking about women making history, and I hope you'll join us then. Thank you.